Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. It is Monday, April 22nd. Ian Cameron will have Connor Mack with us momentarily, my regular guest. And joining us today is a guest that we had with us one time previously, actually. It was right before the Super Bowl back in February. And just as he was preparing for a move to Las Vegas, which is now where he is, and he's had a couple of months to decompress and get comfortable and get acclimated with his new surroundings, Griffin Murphy is back here on Bet with Bobano here with us today. Griffin, good to see you again. How are things down in Sin City?
Ian, things are great, man. Thanks for having me on the show. First off, things are great in Sin City. I mean, this is Vegas, the mecca of sports, especially this time of the year, brother. We have NBA playoffs rolling. We have NHL playoffs rolling. We've got MLB in the midst of fire now. Everything is going. There's always stuff to do out here. I finally, as you mentioned, got acclimated. I know my favorite book, and that's Circa. I'll probably end up being there later on tonight to watch some games. Feeling good. Happy to be back with you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have you back with us as well. And it is a big Monday night. This time of year, late April, early May, we've always got multiple NBA playoff games, multiple NHL playoff games, an MLB card. So we will get into all of that. Now, the hockey stuff, you won't hear much about it from me because we did the Ice Guys show earlier today. And that's, of course, 7 days. So if you want my hockey input, you can watch that show. I'll let Griffin and Connor Mack speak about the hockey if they want to. Later in the show, if there's any bets, any plays they like on the NHL playoff board. But we'll begin mostly with MLB and NBA, and we will begin with MLB, cool. Where we will begin with two games that are coming up at 6:40 Eastern. The first one, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. We've got the Brewers and Pirates. Joe Ross on the mound for the Brewers. Jared Jones for the Pirates in this matchup. Pittsburgh about a $1.35, $1.40 home favorite. The total 7.5 here in this one. Both of these pitchers have not been that bad at all. In fact, I've been impressed with Jared Jones for Pittsburgh. This is a young kid. He's come in here and he's given this team a chance to win. Now, the Pirates are only 1-3 in his 4 starts, but he hasn't really pitched that bad. He's given up 3 runs or less in all 4 starts. Like I said, gave his team a chance to win. Gave up 1 hit and no runs in 5 innings against the Mets, but unfortunately no run support for Jared Jones in that game. Ended up being a tough luck loss considering he pitched well, but the bats were not going for him. Joe Ross has had a decent start to the year. First 2 starts were really good against the Reds and against the Twins. But after that, he did struggle against San Diego last time out. We'll see if he can bounce back. He might be able to because he's pitched against Pittsburgh and dominated them. And the Pirates' bats just have not been swinging it here of late. Case in point, the Boston series. And I took the Red Sox multiple times in that series, thinking, you know what, Boston's got a little more pop in the lineup. They had 2 pretty good pitchers, Bayo, Cutter Crawford, pitching for them in that series. And they're good enough to shut down a lineup that's really cooled off after that hot start to the season. So tough to lay a price with an offense that's not swinging the bat right now, a team that's not swinging the bat. But I like Jared Jones. He's kind of a bet-on pitcher. So this is a really tough game for me. Not one I personally got involved with, but Griffin, what do you think here, Brewers and Pirates?
Yeah, Ian, I mean, you said it yourself. It's a very nice pitching matchup, and Jared Jones himself. This guy's got 32 strikeouts and 2 walks. His strikeout to walk diversification is nearly unbeatable. You can't get better numbers than that. The downfall right now for this Pittsburgh Pirates team is they've dropped 6 consecutive games. You can't not roll into a matchup having 6 straight losses anticipating, hey, I'm going to wager on this team. And then you go to the other side at the way the Milwaukee's been playing. They're 14-6, and they're right now rated number 3 across all MLB ratings. They are playing very good baseball right now. They've won 4 consecutive matchups. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they've got a nice pitcher coming on the bump as well. His walk to strikeout diversification is not very good, so that is something I will keep my eyes out for. But considering the fact Pittsburgh, they are not producing runs offensively, and that is their downfall. They're 15th in the MLB right now when it comes to offensive runs per game, just averaging 4.4. Milwaukee, on the other hand, they're swinging the bat. They're scoring a lot of runs right now, Ian. They're playing good. They have a very healthy lineup right now. They've got a solid pitcher to back them up. And again, they're carrying that 4-game winning streak, which is something you must always take into accountability, especially going against a team who's on a downtrend going straight downwards on a 6-game losing streak. I like Milwaukee in this position. Even with Pittsburgh at home, they're playing 500 baseball. They're in a losing streak. And until they can snap out of that, I'm not going to be on Pittsburgh whatsoever, Ian.
I agree. It's hard. Hard to lay a price with a team that's scuffling like Pittsburgh is. The only reason I'm not on Milwaukee is because Jared Jones is a bet on pitcher. I like the way he's pitching. I think he's actually a little bit better than Ross, but again,
Yeah,
I get
agreed.
behind Pittsburgh right now with the price they're at and the struggles and the losing streak and the fact they're not hitting at this point in time. All right, Philly and Cincinnati, Ranger Suarez and Hunter Green, your pitching matchup here. Pretty much a pick 'em here, even money with
Yeah.
the Reds and Phils, 8.5 the total in this game. I mean, Ranger Suarez has been dominant here the last couple starts for the Phils. Just absolutely outstanding. Very, very difficult to go against him right now with what we've seen. The Phillies, by the way, they're on a win streak, 6 in a row coming into this game tonight. How about 15 consecutive innings of shutout baseball for Ranger Suarez, the lefty? Hasn't given up a run in 15 innings. You have to go all the way back to April 6th against Washington, the last time he gave up any runs. That's just not a guy I'm looking to go against. But at the same time, I'm a big Hunter Green fan. He's got swing and miss stuff. This guy's got an electric arm. He can get swings and misses. He's really one of those go-to over strikeout player prop pitchers for me. I often find myself betting a lot of Hunter Green over strikeout props. He's got that kind of swing and miss ability. You know, it does give up the home run every now and then, but no, he's pitched very solid. He had one rough outing against the Brewers, but outside of that, he's been very good. Unfortunately, the Reds are 0-4 in his 4 starts. And it hasn't really been because he's pitched bad, just not enough offense, bullpen issues for the Reds. This is a lean for me to the Phillies. I haven't bet Philadelphia yet in this game, but with this guy pitching as well as he is, Suarez, and the win streak, don't really want to go against them. It's kind of like the last game. I think the lean has to be the hot team, but I like Hunter Green quite a bit. Tough to go against him, but I do lean Phillies here. It's hard to go against what they're doing as a team and what Ranger Suarez has done. 2 straight starts without giving up a run. Now, is there going to be regression at some point? I'm sure there will be, but he could still give up, just a couple of runs tonight, 3 runs. Maybe he'll give up something, but still probably put his team in a chance to win. So lean Phillies. Again, haven't bet it, but I lean that way. Griffin, what do you think?
Yeah, Ian, this is another game. We have a dynamite pitching matchup rolling in. Ranger Suarez, this guy's been consistent for how many years now? I mean, he chucks from the left side. Very nice. Hunter Green has an electric arm, as you mentioned. This guy can gas a fastball up 98, 99 miles an hour, even break 100 at times. The problem with Hunter Green is he does find himself in trouble from time to time. I get it this season. He does only have 9 walks, and he does have those 30 strikeouts, but this guy from time to time will put himself in bad situations, and those walks will all come in 1 inning, and then all of a sudden it's an outbreak inning, and he finds himself in huge trouble. Right now, this is another situation. You've got 2 teams that are both on winning streaks. So how do you jump on board of one of those? That's like jumping inside of a bull run where price is going straight up. You're never supposed to jump straight into it. You're supposed to buy at the bottom and let it go itself. So in this type of situation, for me, we know what the Phillies are capable of doing. They do it every single year for the past 3 years. They play very strong offensive baseball. They have very big names in their lineup, guys that you're really not going to get through. Has the run production been phenomenal this year? No, but they are backed up tonight by Ranger Suarez. And as I mentioned, again, Hunter Green is a pitcher who can find himself in trouble from time to time. Jumping in front of a 6-game win streak, not going to happen for me. Cincinnati took the last game 4-1. This is a redemption game in my eyes. I like the Phillies here in this matchup, Ian.
Liking those Phillies here is Griffin in this one. All right, Miami, Atlanta. We got Ryan Weathers, the lefty, Bryce Elder for the Atlanta Braves. This one is Atlanta, as you would expect, big favorites, but minus 200, total 9.5 here in this game. I mean, I've seen Ryan Weathers going back to his days with San Diego. He's not really been someone I've been all the time overly impressed with. I will say this, though. 4 starts this year. He hasn't given up more than 3 runs. So he's doing something right. He pitched really well against San Francisco. 10 strikeouts against the Giants in that game for Weathers. Meanwhile, you've got Bryce Elder, and I don't really think highly of him. He's someone that started strong last year, but did not finish strong. Last few starts, the playoff start, he got roughed up by the Phillies. He struggled at the end of September. Ended the season giving up 4 runs or more in each of his last 4 starts, and this will be his first start of this particular season. And if you look at last year, one of those starts came against this very same Miami Marlins team, and he gave up 4 runs, 9 hits in 5 innings. Now, the concern here that I would have for Weathers is you look at this Atlanta team, they're scalding lefties. 281 average, 6.4 runs per game against lefties. So he's pitched well, but this is a team that can match up very well against him from the left side with those brave, strong numbers against Southpaws as a team. 281 average and over 6 runs per game against lefties. That's pretty good stuff,
Yeah.
what you see from them so far. In fact, close to 7 runs per game you're seeing versus lefties for the Braves. So, part of me thinks that I trust Weathers a bit more than Elder, but I certainly want the Atlanta lineup more than I want Miami's lineup. So
Right.
I initially leaned Miami, taking a shot at this big price for as bad as they are. Look, they're going to be a bad team. They're 6-17, but they are going to be spots where there's going to be big plus money value if you think the matchup's on their side. I kind of lean that way, but I decided to go with the total instead and play it up and over this 9.5. I think the Braves match up well against Weathers, even though he's pitched well so far. Facing a Braves team that's hitting lefties very hard could be difficult for Weathers. We know the Miami bullpen isn't very good. So Atlanta should be able to do some damage here in this one. But on the flip side, I don't trust Bryce Elder. And I know this Marlins lineup leaves a lot to be desired most of the time, but I think
Yeah.
even they're capable of getting maybe 3-4 runs in this game here against the Atlanta Braves. So the over is the look here for me in this one. Griffin, what do you like?
And I have a very sizable position on this play with my firm, DocSports.com. So I don't necessarily want to get too deep into this game. I will say on both sides of the spectrum, you already know Atlanta is probably arguably the best team in baseball right now. I mean, top 3 hands down. So you already know what you're going to get from them on the offensive side of things. They're going to produce runs. They always do so. And then on the other side of things, the flip side is Ryan Weathers. Well, he has been shaky for years now to come. I believe he was with San Diego last season, did not have a good year at all. Coming into this season, he is really chucking right now, throwing very well. He's got 20 innings pitched, 22 Ks, and just 8 walks. He's got a very low ERA, and he's backed up by a Miami team who just hasn't gotten off the gates yet. You've got a very solid lineup with a rise. Jazz Chisholm, Bell, Del Cruz, Tim Anderson. Their lineup goes on and on. The team just hasn't cooked up yet. So for me right now, I don't want to give out too many leans on this type of game, but giving the breakdown of you kind of nailed it on the head there. Bryce Elder, I'm not really going to put too much trust into him. Ryan Weathers, on the other hand, coming out, having a very good season. And just to me right now, Miami just hasn't gotten off the bus quite yet, Ian.
All right, Arizona, St. Louis. Fott and Lynn, your starting pitching matchup here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals slight home favorites, 8.5 the total in this game. You look at Arizona and 4-6 on the road, 11-12. Not really the start to the season they expected. Meanwhile, this Cardinals team, they just got swept at home by Milwaukee. And I know Milwaukee's gotten off to a strong start, but this is not a Cardinals team I have a great deal of confidence in. Their offense has been anemic. Arizona with Brandon Fott, who really got off to a sluggish start to the season. Actually had a good first start against Colorado, but roughed up by Atlanta, but a very good lineup. And believe it or not, this St. Louis team did a big hurting on him. 6 runs, 7 hits, 6 innings, but he did bounce back against the Cubs last start, was much better. 2 earned runs in 7 innings with 6 strikeouts. I still think he's a guy that's going to end up over the long term, be a pretty good pitcher for this team. Lance Lynn, 3 of his 4 starts have been pretty good. He had one rough outing against the Marlins where he gave up 4 runs on 8 hits. It is worth noting last year against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, this was in the NLCS with the Dodgers. He struggled. He gave up 4 runs, 6 hits, and just 2.2 innings did Lance Lynn. So I think I like Arizona and lean that way, but I would probably like the team total instead of the money line with Arizona. I think that's probably going to be the approach for me where I don't have to worry about Fott against put it this way. I would at the very least want to split my wager up between the money line and the team total, not put it all on the team total. Because I do think Fott can bounce back. It does bother me. He struggled against St. Louis earlier this year, but St. Louis is still not hitting right now as a lineup. And I think Fott's better than what he showed against St. Louis that last time he faced them. So I'm going to do a Diamondback money line and team total split here in this game. Griffin, what do you think?
Yeah, Ian, this is a really easy game for me. I'm from Chicago. Chicago's my team originally. Lance Lynn was a Chicago White Sox with the Chicago White Sox last season. I've seen what this guy's capable of doing. He's either going to come out and pitch 7 shutout innings, or he's going to get absolutely debacled and get absolutely shelled hammered. Right now, St. Louis, they've already lost 4 games in a row. The pitching matchup, I already know what Lance Lynn is capable of doing, which in my eyes is a risk factor. Arizona, they're 3rd in the MLB in runs produced per game, and they are 7th when it comes to on-base percentage. Lance Lynn is most definitely capable of throwing walks, and if he does get himself into trouble, well, Arizona is also 9th when it comes to slugging percentage. They can absolutely tackle this guy and take him down. Arizona scoring a lot of runs right now. St. Louis is already on a losing skid. I don't care that they're at home. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They've dropped 4 straight. You've got a risky pitcher on the mound. Arizona swinging the bat real well. On base percentages there, slugging percentages there. Give me the D-backs in this one, Ian.
All right, we have agreement there. We both like the Snakes, the Arizona Diamondbacks there in that one. All right, next up as we continue along here, it is the San Diego Padres and the Colorado Rockies. Dylan Cease and Austin Gomber, the pitching matchup here. We've got San Diego about a -170 road favorite, 10.5 the total in this game. San Diego, much needed win for them. They had lost 3 in a row, and they were staring at a sweep against the Blue Jays, but they do get the series finale 6-3 yesterday. Now they play a Rockies team that is just, we know what they are. They're pretty bad. 2-8 in their last 10, 5-17 overall. I think what's kind of surprising is that they're only 3-6 at home. This has been a pretty good. This has always been a team where they just cannot win on the road over the years, but they've at least been halfway decent at home. Well, now they're 3-6 at home, so they're not just losing on the road all the time, but now even their home record is taking a hit. So it's tough to get your money behind Colorado. We saw them lose 2 of 3 to Seattle over the weekend. Before that, they got swept in Philadelphia. They lost 2 of 3 to Toronto. So it's been a really tough run for them. That being said, Gomber's been better than I thought. I'm not a big Austin Gomber guy, but he's given up 3 runs or less in 3 straight starts. He pitched against San Diego last year in July. 2 runs allowed, 6 hits here in this ballpark, pitched okay. And on the flip side, you've got Dylan Cease, who's been pretty steady, pretty solid, 3 runs or less in each start going into this one here against Gomber and the Rockies in this one. If you look at what the Padres have done against lefties, they're only hitting .209, believe it or not, against lefty pitching. So not as good as you would think. Dare I say it, this could be an under here in this game. I know we're talking about the bandbox that is Coors Field, and it's tough to take some unders here with just how the ball can fly out of that park, and sometimes you get these 10-8 kind of games, but I don't know if this is going to be a slugfest. Padres offense hasn't been clicking on all cylinders, and we know Colorado, facing a good pitcher like Dylan Cease are capable of getting shut down. So maybe I'd lean a first 5 under at the very least here in this game. Maybe take the bullpens out of it. What do you like here?
Yeah, another easy game for me, Ian, and that's just the specific fact of me knowing Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is an outstanding pitcher. He came from the Chicago White Sox. I watched him all season long last season. He was outstanding. He will find himself in trouble from time to time, but against a team like the Colorado Rockies, who have 5 wins all season long, they're brutal at home with a record of 3-6. They're being outscored on run differential by -55, which is terrible. You have to go against Dylan Cease, who's going to come into this game, and he's going to kind of big man it. This is his team. They just dealt with a very tough Toronto Blue Jays club. So strength of schedule, we can also impact on as another confluence to benefit the Padres in this matchup. I'd lay the run line with the Padres in this game. I just think they have too much of a powerhouse offense. They just dealt with some very good pitching. And I'm not going to take anything away from Gomber. I think he is a good pitcher. Is he stout? No. But is he good? Yes. Padres, on the other hand, they just dealt with some very good pitching against. So coming into this game, they're backed up by a very good Dylan Cease pitcher who should come in locked in. Facing a brutal offense, give me the run line with the Padres in this one.
There it is, run line with the Padres here for Griffin. All right, Mets and Giants here, late night at AT&T Stadium there in the Bay Area. Quintana and Wynn, your pitching matchup. Wynn and the Giants -115 home favorites, 8.5 being the total in this game. I agree with the move to the total. First of all, the wind is kind of blowing out tonight in this ballpark. Total's already gone up from 7.5 to 8. The Mets have gone over in 4 straight games. Their pitching has been dicey, but their offense has all of a sudden been really good. You go back to the start of the Pittsburgh Pirates series, and they have scored 6 runs or more. This New York Mets team
Yeah.
in 4 of their last 6 games. So this lineup for the Mets is starting to heat up right now. We'll see how Keaton Wynn fares here for the San Francisco Giants. He's actually been all right here in these last 2 starts. One of those was against Miami, though. Not a very good lineup, so you got to kind of put a grain of salt beside that. If you look at this Mets team against righties, they're now averaging 5 runs per game, much improved. We'll see how Quintana fares. His numbers so far are quite good.
Yeah.
Quintana, 3-1 as well in his 4 starts. I think he's going to come back down to earth a little bit. I don't see him keeping this up for the entirety of the season. So I agree with the move up in the total, over 7.5 to over 8, where it is now. I think we'll see this one get up and over the number. As far as the side goes in this game, look, prior to getting bombed by the Dodgers 10-0, this team had won 6 in a row. Quintana's been a little bit better than expected. So I lean to the Mets side, but I prefer the total here in this one. What do you like?
Yeah, Ian, this is another very fair value play. And Jose Quintana, I actually do have very high hopes for this guy. I've been watching him pitch now for 4 or 5 years in the bigs, and he's slowly, progressively just getting better and better as a pitcher. He chucks from the left side. He's got some pretty nasty stuff. Right now, he does have 16 strikeouts on the season. Walks are going to be the only issue in this matchup. And if he can keep his control locked in against the San Francisco team, I like the Mets here. The on-base percentage for San Francisco right now is 11th in the league. And that is something that you do have to keep in mind. They do not score a lot of runs. They're 19th in the MLB in runs produced per game, averaging 4.1. They're just 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're coming off a loss. Then you've got a red-hot New York Mets team who just got absolutely annihilated yesterday to the Dodgers. That's an embarrassing 10-0 loss. So you're going to take a little bit of sweat with that one coming into this game with a little bit more juice. Like, hey, we got to get back on our feet here. I love the way the Mets are playing baseball right now. They have a very solid lineup. Last season, they had a great lineup. They just were not able to put it together. I have a lot of different expectations this season in a beneficial way. I think they're going to come out. Quintana as well. This would be a very good first 5-inning play. I think Quintana holds this Giants team to a very low offensive scale. They don't score runs as it is. The Mets, on the other hand, just got shut out 10-0. So they are due for I guess you would call it flip side of regress. They're going to shoot up. I like them in this spot. There's not a whole lot other for me to say here. They're 6-3 on the road. They're playing very good baseball across all spectrums. San Francisco's doing the same old crap that they've done for 3 straight years. They just can't score runs. They have good pitching, but the pitching doesn't matter if you can't score runs behind them. And that's what they're continuously doing. Although San Francisco has not been the greatest pitching team this season, I do expect that to flip. Logan Webb is one guy in mind that I do always kind of scale myself as a high expectation for, because he is a very good pitcher who does not get enough credit for this Giants team. So when I look at this game, Keaton Wynn, not really that impressed. Quintana, I've seen what he's capable of doing. I like what he does. I love the way this New York Mets team is playing. And on the money line, you can get them at a plus 100 play. So I do like the Mets here, Ian.
All right, Tigers and Rays as we switch to the American League now. Tarek Skubal for the Tigers, Zach Littell for Tampa Bay. We've got Skubal and the Tigers, slight road favorites here, 7.5 the total. I mean, if you're looking at starting pitching, I'm a big fan of Tarek Skubal for the Tigers.
I know him personally.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's pretty good. But you know what? He's been solid. He's given the Tigers a chance to win. Tigers are 3-1 in his 4 starts so far this season. And I keep thinking when it comes to Zach Littell here for the Rays, he's pitched well. This guy to me has been a fringe arm, a journeyman type of pitcher the last couple of years. There's way more upside and long-term upside and higher ceiling, in my opinion, with Skubal than there is with Littell going into this start. We'll see if he can get the job done. Now, the Rays are a formidable lineup, but they are coming off a divisional series against the Yankees. Sometimes that can be a tricky spot when you're coming home off a big series like that against a division rival. Meanwhile, you've got Detroit, continuing this road trip here against Tampa Bay. You look at the Tigers. Look, the Rays are only 7-7 at the Trop. The Tigers have a very strong 8-3 record on the road. The Tigers have been road warriors this year for the most part. I think Detroit can get this one, and I really like the first 5 option with the Tigers because, the bullpens, you still got to respect what the Rays are able to crank out there every single year with that bullpen. They just give you good arms in the relief corps year in and year out. Doesn't matter what they lose in the offseason, they're able to replenish it and still have a pretty good bullpen. The Tigers can be a little bit suspect at times with their bullpen. So I'm on first five and full game, but I think I like the first five with Detroit, a little bit more. That being said, let's give the Tigers bullpen credit because in the past it's had issues. So far this season, though, that bullpen for the Tigers is pitching to a 1.65 team bullpen ERA so far. That's very good. 1.65. So that's why I'm okay with including the full game with this bet on the Tigers. So it's going to be a first five and full game money line split for me with the Detroit Tigers. What do you think?
Yeah, Ian, I actually wanted to mention that me and you have talked, Nick Mankin, he's going to be, will be rolling eventually. He's also
a baseball player.
Yes. Handicapper. Yep. He played ball as well at Virginia Tech and the University of Illinois. And that is actually the same thing with Kerry Carpenter. He played ball with Carpenter. Carpenter's the right fielder for the Detroit Tigers. And this team, when Tarek is on the bump, it's a nerfy. No runs first inning. Nobody scores off this guy in the first inning, and you take them first five. This Detroit Tigers team has so much secret power in this lineup, and Tarek does not give up runs going through 5 innings. If he does, it's 1 or 2 runs absolute max. And you typically always get good value with this team. They're usually plus money, and if they're not, it's only because Tarek's on the bump. And the most you're going to get is a minus 130, minus 145 when you're laying. So this Tigers team, they most definitely have enough star power to put one over the fence and get a couple guys on base, and then have Tarek back them up. They're already 8-3 on the road, which, like you said, the Road Warriors, they're playing phenomenal baseball. They're coming off a win. They have a ton of star powers. Torkelson's in there. Obviously, Kerry Carpenter's in there. Baez, who's kind of all over the map this season. Canna, I think, was a really good pickup for them. I love Detroit here. They're scoring a lot of runs. They're playing good baseball. They're playing real good on the road right now. And again, once I'm going to go with it, Tarek, Nerfy, first 5 innings, Tigers. That's my play here, Ian.
There you go. Rays, Tigers, no run first inning, and also Tigers first 5 for Griff here in this one. All right, Jays and Royals, Kikuchi and Singer. We've got the Toronto Blue Jays, slight road favorites at Kauffman Stadium, 9.5 the total in this game. So I think from a spot perspective, it sets up decently for Kansas City, simply because you got Toronto coming off the West Coast there. They were in San Diego over the weekend, little travel, no day off. They used the bullpen quite a bit over the weekend. But Kikuchi's actually pitched very well, and I don't know if I want to go against that. He's given up just 2 runs in his last 3 starts combined. Singer's been damn good, though, too. 2 runs or less in all 4 starts. This really does feel like a first 5 full game under, certainly a first 5 under with the form these 2 pitchers are in right now at this point in time. The Royals haven't exactly been – the Royals have been all or nothing lately. They've scored 1 run, 4 runs, 1 run, 9 runs. 7 runs, and then they get shut out yesterday. So they really have been all or nothing. They either, get shut out or score 1 run, or they score 6. So we don't exactly know it. That's what makes them a tough team to bet right now. 2 good pitchers. I think it's a spot scheduling advantage for Kansas City, but I don't know if I want to go against the Jays. Are playing well right now. They've won, I think, 3 or 4 series in a row. So I don't want to go against them or Kikuchi in his form, but Singer's been in good form too, and I don't want to go against him. So to me, a game I haven't bet, but I would lean first 5 under. What do you think here, Griff?
This is a game that I would be more so a fan of because the capability right now of what the Royals are doing, they're producing a lot of runs and they're playing very good baseball at home, which was very unexpected going into the season. They're 9-4 at home right now. And then you have 2 very, very reliable pitchers, but Kikuchi has found himself in jams over time. And if this guy starts losing his control, he can most definitely be detrimental to this team right now. Offensively right now for this Kansas City Royals team, they are ranked 10th when it comes to runs produced per game. And they are slugging the crap out of the ball. They are 9th in the MLB, and Kikuchi does find himself walking a lot of hitters. Brady Singer, you kind of know what to expect with him. He's going to come out. He's got a 1.54 ERA this season. He's going to chuck. He's going to have his control and velocity at a very nice capacity. The Blue Jays, on the other hand, do they have a very good offense? Yes. Did they just deal with a very tough San Diego Padres team? Yes. So that puts me in a position to where do I lean in this game? I'm going to get a little bit of a plus value with the Royals here, which I kind of like, but at the same time, Kikuchi, if he comes in dialed in, you can't hit this guy going through 5-6 innings. So for me on this one, Ian, I just have to back off and fade this game. It's just something that I wouldn't want to jump on any side. And I'm not a big totals guy, as you've already probably noticed. I pick a side, and that's where I roll. I don't like to jump into totals.
Fair enough. I mean, that's the thing. There's certain types of bets that are not my cup of tea either. So I think that's definitely something. That's common with most sports bettors. There's some type of bet they just try to stay away from. Nothing wrong with that. All right, White Sox and Twins. We've got Cannon versus Paddock here in this matchup here. Minnesota minus 210 home favorites. The total 8.5. Now, let me put this out there as a disclaimer. Not once this season have I even considered a bet on the Chicago White Sox so far to this point until tonight. And the reason why tonight I'm considering it, I think I've got a sprinkle on a first 5 full game split with the White Sox at north of plus 200. I just don't think much of Paddock. I think he's very mediocre at best for the Twins. I don't love the offense right now for Minnesota. It's not like they're crushing the baseball, and it's not like they're playing great. Okay, the White Sox stink. We know 3-18 overall, 1-9 on the road. It ain't that much rosier for Minnesota. 7-13 overall, 2-6 at home at Target Field. So that's not a team to me that deserves to be minus 210 with a pitcher I don't trust in Chris Paddock, and an offense that to me is scuffling right now during this 1-6 losing streak in their last 7 games. 1-6 in their last 7 for the Twins. I know this is a bad White Sox team. I'm not going to tell anyone otherwise. 1-9 in their last 10. But I think Jonathan Cannon is a capable pitcher. We saw him once already this year against Kansas City. They lost 4-2, but he gave up just 1 run in 5 innings. He was very good, gave them a chance in that outing against the Kansas City Royals. And let's not forget, of course, the White Sox bullpen did their thing and blew it, as they often do. But in the first 5 innings, Chicago led. Chicago had a 2-1 lead in that Jonathan Cannon start against the Kansas City Royals. So I think he's got good stuff. I think for me, this will be like a 75-25 or 80-20 percentage split, first 5 to full game with Chicago. But I have to take a shot at this price. This guy's been good. Minnesota, nothing in their profile with their lineup, with this starting pitcher, Chris Paddock, or their overall form correlates to them being a favorite of this magnitude. You just hope Chicago doesn't screw it up and doesn't be this inept bunch that they've been all season long. That for one night, especially in the first 5 innings, they can carry a lead in this game. So I'm taking the shot here. White Sox, first 5 in full game, but a little bit more on the first 5. What do you think?
You know, Ian, it sucks because there's nothing more that I'd rather do than rip apart the Chicago White Sox team. I'm a fan my entire life, born and raised. I have never seen a more brutal offense, brutal team. Fletcher knocking home runs over, dropping balls at second base, Sosa, fly balls. I mean, this is the worst team I have ever seen in my entire life. I am disgusted. I can't even watch them anymore. We have 2 of the worst offenses in baseball going at it right now. I mean, it's a debacle on all sides of the spectrum for the White Sox. And if they do score runs, they score them all in 1 inning. So for me to rip them apart, it's tough here because what the hell are the Twins doing laying minus 210 against them? The Twins can't score runs either. I don't care who's pitching. So in this spectrum, you went exactly where I would have went with this game. This is a first 5 inning game for the White Sox. And this is something that you go very light on. You do not put anything on this game because what you have to pray and hope
anything for significant. You put something on it, just nothing significant on it. Right.
Nothing. Yeah. You sprinkle a couple dollars at it, whatever. But you have to hope that Cannon's going to come out and pitch well. The Twins are going to do what they typically do, which is not score any runs. And the Chicago White Sox, in hopes, could somebody hit the long ball? I see Eloy's back in the lineup tonight. Gavin Sheets is in the lineup tonight. Do they have home run power? Yes. That is all that I can see happening for this team. They can't steal bases. They can't field ground balls. They can't hit the ball. They can't do anything right. But in their defense, Nor can the Twins. The Twins have nothing going for them either. They can't produce runs. They have a good star power lineup. When you look at it, you're like, I know that name. That's a big name. This guy can get a job done. This guy. None of them are doing it. They're not getting the job done. They're ranked 28th right now in the MLB in runs produced per game are the Minnesota Twins, averaging 3.4 runs. White Sox, 2.1 runs, 30th. These two teams have the worst offenses I have ever seen. White Sox especially. It's disgusting what I could say about this team. But given the fact that you go first 5 innings, you can get a real nice play on them with some good juice, steal a win. It's a sneaky little bet. That is exactly where I would go with it. I would never trust their bullpen deep in this game. If the White Sox are up 2-0, 1-0, say the 6th inning comes aboard, the bullpen's not going to be able to do anything. They don't have anyone to back them up anyways. It's a brutal team across the board, pitching, coaching, everything. They have nowhere to go with this. If I put anything on this game, it would be White Sox first 5, just because neither of these two teams can score runs, and I would expect and hope that the White Sox could hit one ball out of the yard. That would be it, Ian.
There you go. We both agree here. As ugly as it might be, hold your nose special. Chicago White Sox here, first 5. Take the shot. This is the spot to do it. This is the pitcher, I think, to do it too, because only this guy and maybe Crochet a little bit as well.
Crochet's their only good pitcher.
Yeah. They're the only two guys that have done a damn thing with this team pitching wise, and the lineup we know has had issues, but hopefully for tonight they squeeze a few runs across at least in the first 5 innings. All right, final game for this MLB card is Orioles and Angels. We've got Suarez for the Orioles, Reed Detmers, the lefty, for the Angels. LA Angels -110, 8.5 being the total here in this game. Albert Suarez taking the mound for the Orioles. He's actually given up 3. He actually pitched a shutout in his one start this year. 5.2 innings against Minnesota, albeit Minnesota's had a tough time scoring runs. I'm a big fan of Reed Detmers, though. This guy is 4-0 in his 4 starts. He's been very good. They've been waiting for him to come into his own, and maybe he's about to show signs of that. The only little concern I have is the Orioles, historically, including so far this year, they've been stronger against lefties than they've been against righties as a lineup. 6 runs per game, 267 average against left-handed pitching for the Orioles. We'll see if that can carry over, but I still like what I've seen out of Detmers. Baltimore's been playing well. They're on a 6-1 run in their last 7 games. Meanwhile, the Angels have been scuffling. They got swept on the road at Cincinnati. They've been on this very, very long road trip here, 3 road series in a row, and now back home, without a day off. It's just not a spot historically I love in baseball, where long-ass road trip, first game home without a day off. That's not normally a situation I want to back you. It's just not. So it's a pass for me. I think I'd rather have Detmers than Suarez, and I don't want to go against Detmers. They've won every start he's been on the mound, but I don't love the spot for the Angels, and I respect what the Orioles are doing. So it's a lean to the Angels, but that'll be all. What do you think here, Griffin?
Yeah, I mean, Reed Detmers, I'm a big fan as well. And, this guy's already coming in tossing this year. He's a southpaw. He chucks real nice from the left side. He's got 22 innings pitched. He's 3-0 on the season. He's got 30 strikeouts, 7 Ks. But then you have to look at what the Angels are doing right now. They've lost 4 straight games. So with all that being said, behind Reed Detmers, this team's not capitalizing on victories. We already know what the Baltimore Orioles are capable of doing. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're already on a 2-game winning streak again. They're 6-3 on the road. They have a very good offense, second in baseball, averaging 5.8 runs per game. They have a great bullpen, great pitching. I'm not a huge Suarez fan. I'd rather have Detmers on the bump for me. So again, I hate agreeing with you continuously, but this would be a pass game for me. Otherwise, I would go Baltimore and I would do a run line play on it, just because of the fact that this Angels team is in a drought right now, and the Orioles are a team that are gonna pounce on you if you are in that type of situation, as they've done continuously over and over again. When it comes to batting production for this Baltimore team, they're 4th in batting average, they're 4th in on-base percentage, 2nd in slugging percentage, 1st in home runs. I mean, they're capable of hurting you across all levels offensively. It's going to come down to, how does Albert Suarez come out and pitch tonight, and can this Angels team get their offense going, which they've lost 4 in a row, and they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. I'm not getting any doors opening here to tell me, hey, the Angels have an edge here. We already know what Baltimore's capable of doing, but again, backing up Reed Detmers. It's too hard for me to go against a guy that's pitching this well right now. And one more confluence to stack with Baltimore in their favor. Angels took the last matchup 4-1, so this is a redemption game in their eyes.
Yeah.
So if I had to back anybody in this game, Ian, it's going to be Baltimore, but I'm going to pass on this one as well, as much as I would like to lay the run line with the Orioles here.
I might take the Angels first 5, and if they're up or they're tied after the first 5, maybe a live bet on Baltimore, because we do trust their bullpen more than the Angels. So
For sure.
definitely that could be an approach here with this.
I like the live bet approach for sure. I like that.
Especially good bullpen. If you can identify the good bullpens and the bad bullpens, you can really do well as far as live wagering, no doubt, in Major League Baseball. All right, so that's MLB for Monday night, but we're not done yet. We have 3 NBA playoff games tonight. There you see it. We'll switch the backdrop. We'll begin with Orlando and Cleveland. This is game 2 with the Magic and the Cavs. Cleveland 5.5-point home favorites, 203.5 the total. Everybody, of course, in the NBA playoffs, especially once we get into game 2 and beyond, we know what the main betting angle and philosophy that everyone talks about, the zigzag theory. We talk about this every year at NBA playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
When is it a good time to bet via the zigzag theory, and when is it not a good time to bet via the zigzag theory? And to me, I've said this for years. All these years I've been betting NBA playoffs. You bet the zigzag theory as in the team that lost the previous game. You bet them in the next game, ATS. You bet that in series that you believe are going to be competitive, series that you believe where the two teams are pretty close. That's the determination you have to make. If you think it's going to be a close series, if you think it's going to be a competitive series, you don't think one team's going to sweep or win in 5, that's when you bet the zigzag theory. But if the team wins game 1 and you think it's a mismatch series and you think they're just better and they have a chance to win a short series, then you should not be betting the zigzag theory in the next game. That's usually the approach I take. So the question is, Orlando and Cleveland, do you think this is going to be a Cleveland romp, or do you think Orlando's got some pushback in them to make this a competitive series? I thought from the onset, especially with Cleveland not playing well in the second half, I thought this was going to be a zigzag series. This was going to be competitive. Orlando's got the ability to compete in this series. Now, the concern is Cleveland's elite interior defensively, and Orlando, that's where they score a lot of their points. Everyone's made note of that. This is where you hope they can make some adjustments. This is where you got to hope that some of their perimeter players step up. The Wagner brothers, you need a little bit more from them. You need a little more from Jalen Suggs. I think Banchero played pretty well against Cleveland in game 1, but they need more than just him. I took Orlando plus the points here. Considering how bad they played, and yet third quarter there they were making a run, and they got that lead down to like 3 or 4 for Cleveland, and then Cleveland just kind of pulled away again after that. But I think Orlando does have a much better game in them, and I did think this series was going to be competitive from the beginning. So for that reason, I'm going to look toward the underdog here in game number 2. Griffin, what do you think?
Yeah, Ian, this matchup, I mean, the physicality of this game 1, really opens your eyes up to NBA playoffs. This is it. And I've got to say, the way that Cleveland played basketball towards the second half of their season really did not impress me by any means. They play good ball at home, but they don't play good basketball on the road. Orlando's behalf, they shot 21% from the perimeter against Cleveland in game 1. They were 8 for 37. That is why they lost that game. And on top of that, they got out rebounded, destroyed 54-40. It was an embarrassment on their behalf. In Orlando Magic's behalf, they're the best ATS covering team in the NBA. Banchero, he played very good basketball in that matchup. I'm not going to take anything from him. Who I am going to put it on is the Wagner brothers. They played awful. They need to step up and play much bigger here. Suggs really was a big turnaround player in that game, especially in the second half. He started putting the team on his shoulders. He went in a 9-0 run just by himself, slamming and ones. He hit one from the perimeter. I mean, this guy is a good ball player. He's going to be the X factor in this matchup. For this Orlando Magic team right now, 32-11 against the spread when playing a team with equal rest. And they are 51-31 against the spread all season long. Cleveland, on the other hand, what do they have rolling for them? Well, they have Donovan Mitchell in his prime. This guy is absolutely balling right now. Darius Garland was flying around the court. He looked very fast, and he was all over the place on the assist side of things. And Jared Allen, boy, did he step up to really take over in this game. I think for Orlando in this game, they had the first game jitters. They had Cleveland had the fans behind their back. They had home court advantage. They had that playoff environment, and Orlando kind of walked out there and got shell shocked. They couldn't hit the perimeter from the perimeter early in the game, and it kind of just stuck with them throughout the entire mass of the entire game. In this matchup coming in, I already like Orlando race to 10 points. They're plus 110 in the first quarter, race to 10. I think they come out aggressive, hot, and fast early. I love Orlando backing them up here, getting 5.5 points. I think the market overpriced it once again. Cleveland, they already had that home court advantage. They already got that momentum built. And Donovan Mitchell just did what he did, and he showed the world why he is as good as he is. He played great, but in Orlando's defense, I think Orlando really does come out. They are second when it comes to the NBA defensive ratings, and we did not see them prove that in game one. I think game two, I think we're going to see a lot better defensive performance, and I think the arc for this Orlando Magic team is going to be completely different, as I think those shots are going to connect, and we're going to see something around that 35% to 40% range from the perimeter with this team. That's where I'm at with this one, Ian. I am backing up Orlando, and I have them race to 10 points.
All right. Our next up, we've got the Sixers and the Knicks. This is also Eastern Conference, first round series, game 2. The Knicks 5.5-point home favorites at MSG, 204.5 the total. I cashed a ticket with the Knicks in game 1. I thought, with the MSG crowd, Joel Embiid still trying to get himself back into tip-top condition. Right. He's not there yet. You can clearly tell. I mean, he looks like he's Leaning Tower of Pisa. Every time he finishes taking a jump shot, he's leaning over like that. So you can tell he's not all the way back health-wise. The Knicks played well, though. Give them credit. Philadelphia, for, as much as Embiid didn't have his best game. Maxey was pretty good. They didn't get a lot of step-up contributions in that game, though, from a lot of the other players on that Sixers team. If you look at the box score in that 111-104 win, they got 33 from Maxey, 29 from Embiid, 18 from Lowry, but Tobias Harris struggled. Oubre didn't give him much. Nicolas Batum, who was hitting shots left and right, Hield gave them nothing. So some of the role players for the Sixers and some of the supporting cast, I think, have it in them to play better than they did in game number 1. As far as the Knicks go, Brunson and Hart pacing them with 22 points. A couple of surprising developments, though, was that Miles McBride gave them 21 points. And it's funny, I bet his point prop over 5.5. I thought, just give me 6 points. I'll be happy. I did not expect 21 from Miles McBride. But look, he played better, pretty solid down the stretch, too, in a bit of a bench role for the Knicks. So, but I don't know if that's going to be something that, continues to occur, game in and game out for this New York Knicks team. Just like the last series, though, I think this is going to be a competitive series. It's going to be a tough series. This is Nick Nurse, the master of adjustments, game to game. I think you've got to give him the ability to, make some adjustments here with this Sixers team after game 1 and come back stronger here in game 2. And you're getting enough points with Philadelphia where they don't have to win this game. If they are competitive and they bring an extra edge after losing game 1, which I expect, they can cover even if they don't win. You're getting 5.5. You were getting 6 with them earlier. Now down to 5.5. Yeah, I like Philly a little bit here, plus the points. Again, I have this series as a competitive, long, hard-fought series. I don't think the Knicks are running away with it, and I think Philly will hang inside this number, maybe even win outright. But I, at the very least, think we could see this game coming down to the wire in the last few minutes. What do you think here in this one, Griff? Philly and New York.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. The Knicks just went on a full-blown heater in game 1, and it was simple as that. They hit 46% from the perimeter. They killed them on rebounds. They out-rebounded them 55-33. That's unacceptable. New York scored 28 points on second chances and 27 points on fast breaks. They were just on a heater. Straight, plain, simple. When you look at Philly right now, They're 29-18 against the spread when playing a team with equal rest. They're 34-19 against the spread when playing a team with just 1 day off. Both teams 1 day off. And this is a redemption game for Philly. Philly's got to come out hot. They have a very star power lineup. I mean, you do need to expect more out of Maxey. I mean, Maxey's got to come out and perform. But when I look at this game right now, there's not enough depth with this New York Knicks team. You can't really rely on Jalen Brunson to be the guy and just to get this entire thing done for them. You're also looking at OG, and you have Josh Hart, who's going to clean up on boards. But right now with Maxey, Harris, Lowry, I think it was another one of those first game jitters, especially considering the fact Embiid was not with the team. He finally came back. They snagged themselves a win, then had to go into that game where the atmosphere was just absolutely chaotic. New York plays very good basketball at home. I'm not going to take anything from them. But when it goes to depth, Philadelphia is so much deeper. And going into this, they had won 9 games in a row. Again, every single home team in the NBA playoffs had won their first game. So there was no surprise here. I like the fact I'm expecting a big game out of Maxey. I'm expecting a big game out of Kyle Lowry here. And Embiid, yes, he is a little bit shooken up, but the reason they lost this game was because they got outplayed. It was simple. They hit their shot, and the Knicks hit their shots from the perimeter, and they outboarded them. But 9th in the NBA are the Philadelphia 76ers when it comes to offensive rebounds. I expect them to come out here tonight and cover that spread, and I expect a lot better performance out of them in tonight's game, Ian. So I'm rolling here with the Philadelphia 76ers, and I am taking the points.
All right, taking the points with the Sixers. And from one man in Las Vegas to another, Connor Mack. Better late than never, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, sorry. I have a lot of shit going on around here. Sorry, I am a little bit late. Well, what's going on? Bobano, Griffin, how are you, my man? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you, man? I heard you're out in Vegas.
Yeah, where are you at?
I'm Dean Martin. We'll
yeah,
go
okay.
as far as that. I'm on Dean Martin. Right
yeah, so you're over there by like the Aria or around there.
Aria's right there. You can see Aria literally right there.
Yeah, so I thought. I'm right by Green Valley Ranch. I'm in the Henderson. I live on Legacy Golf Course.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
I'm in this area.
Well, we'll have to get together one of these days. You go to Circa ever?
Oh yeah, I've been there a ton. I'm so local though and raised here. Like, unless we go out, like to me, you grab a few drinks, I'll go out there. But I'm not a regular out there, and I'm getting old. I'm born and raised Vegas kid. You go to the strip when you have to, or something's going on. I'm not a regular down there.
I learned that the hard way. I was at the strip every single day for the first 2.5 months I was here, and I was like, enough of this. I can't keep doing this.
It'll slowly taper off unless you go do stuff. You see a concert, you go around, but it slowly goes away as you live there full time. But let's get to this game. Let's get to the game here.
Yeah, go ahead. Sixers Knicks, C-Mac. What do you think?
Sixers Knicks. I like. I was just hearing what you guys were saying. I like the Knicks. I like the Sixers in this game here too. I haven't bet it yet. Yeah, what do we get? I mean, Embiid. He's such, to me though. It's been the problem in betting on him and the Sixers. He's the ultimate flop. We don't know what we get. He's so talented, and I don't know much how. I think he's all right tonight. You guys hit it here. Maxey, how big is he? He's been sick. He wasn't at shoot around. He's gonna play. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if he does play, it'd be crazy. But the things I brought on, and we talked about it last week, Bobano, was Harris and Oubre. They have to be bigger. And I'm on Oubre's points here. It's even money, over 12.5. I didn't play it the other day, and he wasn't very good. I think he had like 8 or 10 points the last couple in this one. So they have to be bigger, and I think they can. That's why I'm leaning to the points right here with it. But I took Oubre. He's gotta have at least 15 to 20 points. I mean, at least they have to be better. So does Harris, Lowry, all these guys. And I think they're in this one a little bit as the game goes on. It's just the trust with me with the Sixers and Embiid have been a struggle. And you went through it. You hit on it, Griffin. Some of the Sixers, how good they've been as a dog the last couple of years. And it's really worked out. So I think you grab the points. Like I said, I haven't moved on it. And one other, he's just been a cash cow for me with the Knicks. The rebounding was so good. It's Josh Hart, his double-double. I know it's a little bit out of price. Not crazy. I think it's like minus 120. Just want something to throw out there. He's been very, very good. Seems like he can get 10 and 10 in his sleep in this matchup.
And Orlando, Cleveland, C-Mac, what did you think of that one?
I don't have a ton there in that game. I was big with on the Magic all year. I just think they're a couple years away, and I hate when it comes to the playoffs with them and they're gritty. That's why I love the under. I think it's no secret in this game is they're not a great jump shooting team. That's going to hurt in the playoffs, especially in this stage in the NBA when you got to hit some big threes. But I think they can hang around. I think the Cavs at home might get one more. But yeah, I'm off there, but I definitely do like the under.
All right, lean into the under there with Orlando and Cleveland. All right, last game, NBA. It is the Lakers and Nuggets. Game 2, Nuggets 7-point home favorites, 224 the total. I like the over a little bit here in this game. I mean, it bogged down in the second half. Denver tightened the screws defensively. That game was on pace, though, for a large part to go over. I think it does tonight. As far as the side goes, this is the one zigzag theory series I'm a little reluctant with because the Lakers have just had a tough time. Like, I don't know if the Lakers could play much better in the first half than they did in game one. What ended up happening in game 1, though? They ended up losing straight up, and ATS didn't even cover. You know, even as good as the first half was for them. So I think if you're going to bet the Lakers, take them first quarter, take them first half, take them early. But I don't trust them for the 48 minutes. We saw it in game 1. We saw it all last year. We saw it in the regular season for 4 quarters. Seems like time in and time out, Denver shows are the better of these two teams. You know, and it really wouldn't shock me to see more of the same. So if you like the Lakers, take them early. But for me, the only bet here is over 224. Griff, what do you think here, Lakers Nuggets?
So I have another sizable position on this play, so I don't want to go too deep in on this one, Ian, but I will just give you guys a rough little breakdown. I mean, you always have to take into accountability. This is LeBron James, and this is playoff basketball. Anthony Davis. You always have to know the position and know where you're at. Listen, LeBron wants another ring, and he's not looking to go down 2-0 in this series. You know you got to deal with Denver, who just cleans up at home. Joker is always an issue to deal with. The biggest matchup in my eyes in this is going to be LeBron James and Aaron Gordon. How hard can LeBron James drive down the court into the lane, and can Aaron Gordon D him up? Is he big enough to be there? Is he physical enough to be there? The X factor in this game for me is going to be D'Angelo Russell with this Los Angeles Lakers team. He's got to score points. Hit LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you know they're going to show out and do their thing. Is Russell going to be able to do it? This is the guy that has to step up. There's nobody else on this Lakers team that's going to be able to pinpoint this game the way that he can do it for this team. I mean, you've got Joker, you've got Aaron Gordon, you've got Jamal Murray, and you have Michael Porter who cleans up on the boards. They're stack loaded. This Denver team is no joke, and we know this going into it. So looking at this on an ATS type of spectrum, the Lakers, they're 14-11 as a road underdog. Well, here they are, a road underdog. 19-18 on the season, one playing as a dog, and they're playing really strong basketball right now despite their most recent loss. Denver, they have rest advantage going into game 1, but this season they're just 24-30 against the spread after a win, and they're 38-42 against the spread on the entire season. They're laying almost double-digit numbers here, and you also have to take into account this game is in Denver, so the air is going to be different. The Lakers, they're a little bit older of a team, so it takes a little bit getting used to. So I understand the spectrum of getting gassed a little bit in game 1. Now you're here, you're a little bit more used to the air, the control. LeBron James basketball, Anthony Davis, they don't want to go down 2-0 in this series. I like the Lakers here with the points, boys. I just gave it out.
There you go. Lakers plus the points. Connor, what do you think here? Lakers Nuggets.
Man, I want the Lakers with the points really bad. But there's just been this creep going back to last year in the playoffs and even this season where they can't cover. Nope. You know what I mean? Now the number's a little bit further. Game 1 it was. It's even a little bit more here at 7. Even last year in the playoffs, the numbers were a little bit shorter. And some of those games were really close. And the thing is, you guys were going through, they just seem to fall apart a little bit late. The Nuggets just a little bit better, execute. Murray and the boys, Porter, all those guys just come through. Man, LeBron James is going to show up. I think he's going to be good. D'Angelo Russell, no show in the playoffs. In big games, he shits the goddamn bed, as we talk about, man. And he has to just be good. I mean, he was horrible. 6-20.
Well, it was a miracle I cashed over points with him against New Orleans, but I only took it because he dominates New Orleans. He's had a good track record against them.
Yeah, he's had some really, really good games. He's got to be big in this game. I think the Lakers can hang around. I want to take them. I haven't moved on this. And I don't know about this total. That was so weird. All those points early in that first half, it slows down. The Nuggets have this weird way of just kind of taking the air about slowing down and the game will stay under, which is always a little bit weird, especially the fourth quarter. They have these solid fourth quarters. Lakers probably will struggle, and this could stay over. So I don't want to mess with the total, but and it looks to me, because I'm still going through some stuff in this game. Like, do I want the Lakers early in the first half or want a full game? So this was one I was still looking at a ton. But yeah, I want the Lakers. I just don't want the Astros.
I think you split it up. First quarter, first half, full game. If you want to go full game, you can. I think you split it up. I don't think you want to have the entire part of your Laker bet on the full game. I know that for a fact. You want to maybe put a little bit on early and the full game, at least make it a 50-50 between the two, just in case the Lakers, again, the Nuggets just take over in the second half, which they've done over and over and over again. We've seen it like a dozen times now against the Lakers, that Denver just takes over late in the games. All right, Connor, we went through the baseball card, so just quickly, what do you like in the baseball card? And then hockey, if you've got anything as well.
Oh, there's a ton of baseball. There's nothing for me to hit out. I got some player props I'll put out on X. De La Cruz, Ronald Acuna, Hunter Renfroe, all he does is hits lefties. Same thing with Mountcastle. So I'll put those out, and I have a few others. The hockey, I think, is just looking – I want the Stars here, Bobano. First period. Did you talk about that today, about it?
It's a Stars spot, man. It is. It really is, yeah, in my opinion, yep.
Knights have just owned them. They haven't played, I think, since December. Right, but
Dallas is going to win this series, C-Mac. They have to win tonight. I mean, this is redemption.
I think they do too.
Vegas embarrassed them last year. Vegas didn't play well down the stretch. They were the better team coming into the playoffs. Dallas, the hotter team. This is the night for them. And if
healthier,
they're in some trouble, I think Dallas.
They are, but one problem has been Vegas. So, but I think it's worth taking a shot on the puck line minus the Stars. They like plus 180. Putting something on that. There's just such good value. To want to jump out. There's just one other play. I'll give it here. The under. I have to take under Islanders, Canes. It's just playoff hockey. It's 2-1, 3-2 written all over it. Stays under the 5.5.
It very well could be with those two teams again. It certainly was in game one. We'll see if that continues tonight. All right. Let's get to best bets and wrap things up. A great show. Appreciate both of you guys being here. Awesome stuff. Griffin, we'll start with you. Great job. You can join us anytime you like. We'll make Monday maybe moving forward, as long as you're, you don't have to be here every Monday, man. If there's something comes up, let me know. But we'll bring you on Mondays whenever you can. But what do you like here for tonight for best bet?
My best bet is going to be straight at you, boys. Go with the Detroit Tigers first 5 innings over the Tampa Bay Rays. I like the Tigers to score a couple runs, and I like Tarek to shut that Tampa Bay Rays offense down. I am going with the Tigers first 5. That is my best bet, Ian.
And there was consensus with Griffin and I on that one. We both like Scooble. We both think this Zach Little for Tampa Bay is a little overrated. He's not going to keep this up indefinitely. Detroit first 5. I agree with that one. That's Griffin Murphy's best bet. C-Mac, best bet.
I like that. I thought it was a tad bit pricey, but it shows, and I won't really run on that game, was the under. We have a 3.5 this early, which I couldn't do. I needed a 4 and to be on that Tigers game, the first 5 under. I'll give it to you. Let's go to the ice. Islanders, Canes, under 5.5. That's my best bet.
There you go. Islanders, Canes, under 5.5 in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs for C-Mac with his best bet. My best bet, give me those Philadelphia 76ers. Let's hear it. Let's hear that song. Well, we won't hear it because it's in New York. But if it was in Philadelphia, hey, everybody, clap your hands, 76ers. Hopefully we hear that tonight. Philadelphia keeps it close at the very least against the New York Knicks. Plus 5.5 for my best bet here for this Monday edition of Bet with Bobano. Great stuff. Griffin Murphy, good to be back. Good to have him back in the house here. C-Mac, as always. We'll see C-Mac Wednesday once again for the next edition, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific of the show. Everyone, thanks for watching. Hit the like button and enjoy the games, and good luck tonight for Griffin Murphy, for Connor Mack. I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy the games and good luck. Have a great Monday night. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano, and we will see you again on Wednesday for another edition of Bet with Bobano.